everybody? Fame Rothstein here. Fame Rothstein Sports Investing Show. Yeah, I'm a sports handicapper. I give sports investing advice on the ball games to help you get to the bag, or as my co-host likes to say, get dough, man. My co-host, the L Train, his Instagram is LRankins19 at LRankins19. Okay, the number's 19. Mine is at Fame_Rothstein, FAME_ROTHSTEIN, at Fame Rothstein, all one word on Twitter. I just want to kind of talk about the VladTv series on Tupac. It's not a series. I mean, he's parsing together all these interviews of all the key players. I mean, he's talked to the one guy who's still alive that was in the car that shot up Tupac, Keefe D, who was the uncle of the guy who was widely recognized as the guy who did the shooting, the guy who they jumped at the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas. And he's talked to the first responder in Las Vegas, the first cop, I think his name was Chris Carroll or Kevin Carroll, Chris or Kevin Carroll. He's talked to that guy. He's talked to Compton gang detectives. He's talked to members of both entourages, Tupac's entourage, Death Row's entourage. He's talked to a lot of people. And then there's also a guy who's kind of piggybacking off of it, Cam Capone. I don't know who that guy is. I don't know nothing about him, but apparently he's got some cachet because he's been able to catch Keefe D and Greg Kading, the LA detective who allegedly solved the case between Tupac's murder, and I'll get to that because that's the purpose of this video. But Vlad, if I'm not mistaken, and I apologize if I missay something, but if I understand, he's like a Russian cat, white Russian cat, married to a black lady. He's from the West Coast, I believe. If I heard him say, or he's got connections to the West Coast, the Bay Area. And I'll give him credit. His interviews are riveting. Some of his other interviews with some other B-list black celebrities I can pass on. But, most of his interviews are riveting. This Tupac stuff is riveting for me, particularly because me and Vlad are about the same age. I think he's a couple years older. I'm 43. And so that means I was, 19, 20, 21 when all the Tupac, Biggie, Death Row, Bad Boy stuff was going on. Great time to be alive. Great time to be a young man on the club scene. Best of times, worst of times, if I could steal from the Dickens novel, Tale of Two Cities. The best of times, the worst of times. The best of times was, like I said, the clubs. I mean, it was just the parties, the music was incredible. Because no matter what, whether it was East Coast or West Coast, the shit was mad lyrical. People were there dropping bombs with the pen. As Wayne says, what he say, you hear, you listen, there's a difference. You were listening to them niggas. You was listening to the wordplay. You wasn't just hearing the tracks. But, let me see here. The one person, there's been several things that Vlad has done about the Tupac, several interviews, bunch of them. I mean, like I said, all those people. 3 people I want to talk about in particular, okay? 1, Keefe D. Like I said, he's the one person alive. People are calling him a snitch and whatnot. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't know nothing about that. I'm just going about his interviews with VladTv. I believe him about 80% of what he's saying because he is, and the reason why I only believe 80% and not all, because he's the only person alive. This is only his side of the story, none of the other people in the car. I do have some issues with one thing. He says they were already going to the fight. I think that's kind of being overplayed, or I'm overthinking. I think that's being overlooked, or I'm overthinking, because where Orlando's standing at in that video before they jump him, when Tupac walks over and cracks him, I stood in that same spot. I know where it leaks out to. And where he's standing, he's basically like Little Boosie. Little Boosie, Louisiana rapper. I know that the people who he's one of the people who said Keefe D's a rat and whatnot, and Keefe D said some shit back to him like, dude, watch your mouth, ashy little nigga, all that shit. Even Reggie Wright Jr., the guy from Death Row Security, I mean, he kind of said some things about Lil Boosie, like, shut your little country ass. I mean, I don't know. Boosie was just answering questions. I don't, when he called the guy a rat, I ain't got nothing to do with that, like I said. I don't know nothing about none of that. But dude said it best, Boosie. This part I'm fucking with that he said, and I hate to kind of mock Boosie, but I gotta get in Boosie mode, because this is why it made me feel it. His country southern twang and drawl and just emotion. You at the facilities with all these and you standing by yourself? Nigga, you a gangster. And you by yourself? You ready to kill. I'm ready to put something to sleep, I felt that. Don't get it twisted. I ain't no killer, but don't push. No, just kidding. No, I ain't no killer or nothing like that. I just felt that. I kind of felt what he was saying. Orlando letting it be known to somebody, I'm here. We about to get it cracking. We can if you want to. Get it cracking. That's basically, because if you go stand where Orlando's standing, you'll see what I'm saying. If you go standing, because the minute you go into the MGM Grand, when you're in that spot, if you remember this whole saga, this whole sordid shit between Pac, Biggie, Death Row, you remember that video, you know exactly where you are. When you stand there and you're dealing with and you start thinking about Orlando Anderson, you know exactly where you are. Okay? So there's that. Then there's Reggie Wright Jr. I think he just went to the joint for some fed time, some short shit. He is the only person who I don't know if I 100% believe him, but he's the person I believe the most. He's the person I believe the most out of any of them. He seems very credible. Okay? But the person who I believe the least, truth be told, is Greg Kading, the LAPD who solved the case. Basically got Keefe D to confess or whatever. I don't believe him. I don't trust him. I don't like him. He's a cop of court. No, it's got nothing to do with that. Just go look at his persona on the TVs, on the interviews of Vlad. He's cashing in crazy off of this Tupac case. Wrote a book, got a TV show on USA Today produced. I mean, the dude, no, man. No, man. You out here just to make money. I could see a situation where the LAPD might have told him, we need you to close this shit, dispute all of Russell Poole's findings. If you remember Russell Poole, he's the guy from the documentary, the Nick Bloomfield documentary, Biggie and Tupac. He was that guy. He died of a heart attack while at the LAPD, but he had retired by the end. They wanted to talk to him about some of his findings and whatnot. The story's kind of goofy. But I don't believe Kading at all. I don't believe this guy at all. If you ask me, he had enough information that he could jam up Keefe D, so he went and ran with it, jammed him up, and gave him the proffer. And so Keefe D does the infamous confessions and whatnot, about what happened the night they shot Pac and whatnot. And and then you find out that Kading drives over to Keefe D's house later. Drives over to Keefe D's house and says, "Hey man, I got a book coming out. You might want to skip town, or I'm just giving you warning. So if you need to skip town, blah blah blah, because it's gonna be about the confessions and everything." Keefe D was like, "It's whatever." Now Keefe D's got a book coming. He's got a book out as well called Compton Street Legends or something like that. You got to go look it up. I think it is Compton Street Legends. Like I said, I don't work for any of these people. I'm not trying to pump up their stuff, but fuck with it, because don't fuck with Kading's. Fuck with Keefe D shit. Why? Because, Kading should be making money off of this. Fuck him. Like, I have a real problem with that. He shouldn't be making money off of this. I understand he's a, major American city cop. Everybody wants to hear their stories and whatnot. But, no, man, fuck you, dude. You jammed up that guy, told him, you might want to skip town. I got a book coming out. That's some hoe shit. Then you got a TV show out of it. Dude, you're a complete ass. And I just don't believe you. Talking about through all your findings, some guy named Poochie killed Biggie for $15,000. I ain't killing Biggie for $15,000. Tupac's already dead. Biggie's the biggest rap star in the world. Fuck, I'm gonna kill him for $15,000 for. I need $150,000. Because cops are gonna be on all over him, witnesses, all this shit. Man, fuck that. I need a good lawyer, blah, 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 just in case. I need to skip town, all that. No, I ain't killing Biggie. I'm not killing Biggie for $15,000, especially not then. Back in 1997, 6 months after Tupac died. No, I ain't killing. No, fuck all that. This motherfucker. I don't believe shit Greg Kading talking about. Like I said, he ran up on Keefe D and jammed him up with a charge. Then ran up on him and told him, yeah, you might want to skip town. I got some shit coming out. That's some hoe shit. That's some dirty cop shit. That's why motherfuckers call them pigs. Like, you gonna endanger my life just so you can get paid? And to his credit, I think pretty much sure Keefe D told him, like, I ain't going nowhere. This is me. This is where I'm at. And motherfucker want it, they can come get it. And, like I said, I don't know who the Cam Capone dude is, but apparently he's got some clout because he's got Kading and Keefe D on his interview stuff. So, pardon me with the camera work. But yeah, so Kading is not a very credible or likable guy, as far as I'm concerned. So don't buy his books. Don't fuck with Greg Kading. He's probably already made all the money he's going to make off of it. But, yeah, this guy, he's a snake to me. That's some bullshit, what you did to that guy. What you did to Keefe D. That's some bullshit. And, you're swooping in at the last minute, acting like the fucking hero. Once again, the white savior. He solved all this shit, man. Fuck that Greg Kading guy. He's a snake. I don't like that guy. Like, he's a very I see all the interviews. I watch the interviews because I'm fascinated. This story never gets old. This story and O.J. Simpson, the murder case, that shit never gets old to me. I was 18, 19, like I said, 18 to 21 when all this happened. And, it's just kind of one of those things you'll always remember. And to me, they're both fascinating. They never get old. And no, man, fuck Kading. Yeah, so that's pretty much that. You can like, you can comment, but don't forget about the sports investing. That's what we really do. This is just kind of like a fan mail, if you will. No disrespect to anybody. I just don't fuck with Kading. He's a piece of shit. That dude a piece of shit, for real. And I just, every time I'm scrolling through any of those Vlad interviews, I'll watch. I don't know. I'm not speaking on Vlad. I don't know any of these people. Vlad might. I've heard that there's some. He gets a little backlash. I'll fuck with him though. Like his interviews. He gives brothers a chance to speak out on some other shit. Lord Jamar is always on there. And yes, and Lord Jamar is right. Okay, Eminem, you are a guest. I'm gonna do another video on that next. But yeah, so that's it. Like and subscribe, and I will holler at you. Eminem video coming up real soon. Holla.